Namo myoho renge kyo, namo myoho renge kyo, namo myoho renge kyo. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your practice. How are you? I hope you're in good health, good circumstance. The old vision isn't quite what she used to be. But let's put on these glasses with the specialness of the leash and see if we can't continue with chapter 7. I believe that's the one we're on, in the MahaPariNirvana Sutra on the 4 aspects. Yes. All right. A lot of meat in this particular chapter, isn't there? And it's a lengthy one, but that's okay. We're making headway. And with emancipation, such things as the astravas, the defilements, the leakings, if you will, the pox and warts and all other such things are done away with. The same with the Tathagata field. It has no defilements and no pox or warts. Of course it doesn't. Why would it? The Tathagata field is potential. There's nothing manifest in it. In that respect, it is, in Buddhist parlance, empty. But that doesn't mean there's nothing. It means there's no thing, right? Language is based on samsara, so it's very hard to talk about the state of enlightenment and its potential with terms that are samsarically based, right? But we try, and hopefully this makes some sense for you. So let's continue and see if we can't keep clearing up this point. Also, with emancipation, there can be no fighting or refutation, confrontation, disputation. For example, the hunger-ridden entertain the thought of greed and grabbing when they see others taking food, right? Samsara. With emancipation, the case is not thus, because there's nothing to crave or cling to, right? Tathagata field is profound observational potential. So it's not the Tathagata field that's involved with samsara. They're just two distinctly different realms, if you will. Although, to be really accurate, the Tathagata field isn't a realm at all, because a realm itself is something in the midst of expression, right? Right? The 3,000 realms in a single thought moment are influences from tendencies and conditions. Tendencies and conditions are expressions of potential. So the steps have already been taken. We're already dealing with karmic potentials, karmic influences. Think of being in a situation where your reactions determine the very next moments of your life. Somebody tries to insult you by berating something they make up about your mother. Do you laugh? Do you not understand? Do you get upset? How you react and there are many other nuances within all of those, are potentials. But until you react, they don't become an action, karma. So until you act, all possibilities are potential. The moment you act, you've made an influence. You've made, right, a thing. That's how everything works. Also, emancipation is quietude, and quietude, ordinary people say that quietude and quietude are of Maheshvara. That's quietude with a big Q or a small q. But such is a lie. True quietude means utmost emancipation. In other words, no longer disrupted, distracted, disturbed. Utmost emancipation is the Tathagata field. You return to potential. And experience of the Tathagata field is Buddhahood. That is a thing, but because it's in the realm of form, right? Buddha, enlightenment, is something that takes place in the ninth consciousness, within the Saha physical realm of forms, yes? Also, emancipation means quietude and safety. Why would it be safety? Well, safety certainly for your mind. Safety from Dairakuten Mao, negative influences. Because in quietude you are steady and you are steadfast. There is nothing perturbing you. The place where robbers are present has no quietude and safety. Robbers in this case would be Mara and its minions, right? Darakuten no Mao and its minions. Influences born of clinging and craving. The place where purity and quietude reign is a place of quietude and quietude. Capital Q, small case Q. As there is no fear in this emancipation, because there is nothing to be feared, we say quietude and quietude. Hence, quietude and quietude are true emancipation. True emancipation is the Tathagata field. The Tathagata field expressed. The Buddha is Dharma, or the experience of. See, on the one hand, you have expressed, and on the other hand, you have experience of the expressed. You see the two sides, right? Samsara versus enlightenment. One is constructed, not quiet. The other is unconstructed, not even yet a thought. Because a thought, as you know, thought, word, or deed, is an action, and actions can only act upon the realm of forms. Also, emancipation has no equal. How could it? By equal, we may take up the case of a king who has equals in the neighboring kingdoms. The case of true emancipation is not such. Having no equal is like the case of the Chakravartin, the benevolent ruler, who has no equal. The same with emancipation. There is nothing equal to it. To have no equal is true emancipation. True emancipation is Shakyamuni Buddha, Chakravartin, benevolent ruler. Thus, there is none who is his equal. There can be no talk here of an equal. Now, that could confuse some, because my first thought upon reading that was, well, if I attain my Buddhahood and you attain your Buddhahood, how are those not equal? And I think the answer would be that they're not separate. Your Buddha-ness and my Buddha-ness are the experience of the same expression of Tathagata. Does that make sense? This is where we can with our slippery language, talk about the oneness of the many aspects of oneness. I should probably do a short pamphlet or book on the many interpretations, not that they are competing, but the many applications of the idea of oneness in Buddhism. All the Buddhas being emanations of Shakyamuni Buddha, right? They're all the one. The world-honored one, the thus come one. It's all over Buddhism, but has far-reaching aspects in which it plays a role. And that's only because we exist in the realm of forms. Oneness is oneness, like the Tathagata field. All right, moving on. Also, emancipation is non-apprehension. One who has apprehension may be likened to a king who fears and slanders the strong neighboring state and has apprehension, right? Doubt is apprehension. Insecurity is apprehension. Now, with emancipation, there is nothing of the kind. There's nothing to be uncertain of. You are in the moment-to-moment-to-moment momentum of the engine of life. You could say there is no time for apprehension. There's too much going on. Now. Now, with emancipation, there's nothing of the kind. This is like annihilating enmity, as a consequence of which there is no longer any apprehension. The same is the case with emancipation. It has no apprehension or fear. Non-apprehension is the Tathagata field, or the expression, or the experience, of the Tathagata field. Also, emancipation is non-apprehension or non-joy. For example, a woman has an only son. As a result of war, he goes to a far-off place. News comes saying that the boy has met with ill fortune, as a consequence of which the mother is worried. Later, she hears of his safety, and because of this, she is glad. Now, with emancipation, there is nothing of the kind. When there is no apprehension or joy, there is true emancipation. True emancipation is the Buddha experience of the Tathagata field. It's not that she doesn't love her son, but love, there's that word. It's another one I could do a book on, yeah? Hey, let me know as I'm talking here if any of this catches your ear as yes, would you please do that? Let me know in the comments. Otherwise, how would I know? Yeah? Also, there is no dust or defilement in emancipation, as when the spring months after sundown, the wind raises up a cloud of dust. Now, in emancipation, nothing of the kind obtains. Where there is no cloud of dust, there is true emancipation. True emancipation is the Tathagata field. This is like a bright gem resting in the knot of dressed hair on the head of the Chakravartin, where there is no fleck of defilement. The nature of emancipation is thus: it has no defilement. Non-defilement can be likened to true emancipation. The true emancipation is the Tathagata field, or the experience of it, yes? True gold does not contain any sand or stone. This is true treasure. When one gains this, one feels one has gained true wealth. The nature of emancipation is also such a true emancipation. This true treasure can be likened to true emancipation. True emancipation is the experience of Tathagata field. When an unglazed pot breaks, there issues a neighing crack sound. With the adamantine treasure pot, breaks, things are otherwise. Now, emancipation emits no neighing crack sound. The adamantine treasure pot is like true emancipation. True emancipation is the Tathagata field. Hence, the body of the Tathagata field cannot be destroyed. We say that it neighs, crackles. This is as when castor seeds are put into a blazing fire, which flames up and sends forth a popping sound. It is like that. Now, emancipation has nothing of the kind. The adamantine pot of true treasure emits no cracking or breaking sound. Even if innumerable hundreds of thousands of people were to shoot arrows at it, none could break this pot. What emits no cracking or breaking sound is true emancipation. The true emancipation is the experience in the mind of the Tathagata nature, Buddha. A poor man is in debt to other people, so he gets bound up and chained in fetters and is punished by whipping, and he has to suffer from all kinds of worries and pains. Now, with emancipation, there is nothing of this kind. There is no debt to pay. This is like a rich person who possesses innumerable yis of treasure and whose power is unbounded, who owes nothing to other people. The case of emancipation is thus. It has a countless stock of wealth of dharma and rare treasures, having full power and owing nothing to others. Owing nothing to others may be likened to true emancipation. The emancipation is the Tathagata field. So, there's a lot of repetition here, and we have some more to go. But don't. It's easy to get lost in the repetitions, and with our samsaric minds, we start to thingify emancipation, right? The point is there's a duality that keeps bouncing back and forth here, trying to pull examples from everyday life and indicating that this could be likened to a sense of emancipation, but it's not. Emancipation is something other. It's not a thing. It's an experience. And it's an expression of potential without manifesting other than this influence, this experience in the Buddha mind, the ninth consciousness. Try to keep that in mind. Also, emancipation is not being obsessed. This may be contrasted with spring when one walks in the heat, with summer when one tastes what is sweet, and with winter when one encounters cold. In true emancipation, there is nothing of that kind that does not appeal to one's wishes. The absence of anything to oppress one may be likened to true emancipation. So again, that duality. You go out in the winter and it's cold, you feel, you smell, you taste cold. But when you're emancipated, what we're talking about is nirvana. Whether it's cold or sweltering hot, your experience of life is unaffected. Does that mean you won't sweat in the summer, or you won't get icicles in your eyebrows in the winter? No, it doesn't mean that. It means that that's not you. It means when you're disattached from the thing of self and all the things around you that you possess or are possessed by, when that is no longer associated, seen as actually the self, you don't identify with it, then it can happen independent of you being you. Just because it's hot and you're sweating doesn't mean you have to experience the utmost discomfort and distraction from that condition that is happening to your body. Your body, your physical body, realm of form, is not you. You can be sympathetic, empathetic, you can be all those things, but you are, quote unquote, an observer. When you are enlightened, when you are in the ninth consciousness, when you are in Buddhahood, everything is an observation in this moment. How it is progressing. The dust cloud behind it, like Pigpen from the Peanuts. And the craving of the future, like Charlie Brown trying to kick that football, knowing, as he should full well, that Lucy will pull it out away from him before he can kick it. But that's not Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown is that little kid in all of us who makes fake promises to himself, who makes his desires rule his experience of the world rather than his experience of life being an observer, what's the word I'm looking for? Objective observer, rather than a subjective collector. True emancipation is the Tathagata field. True gold does not contain any sand or stone. We've already read that part. True emancipation is Tathagata. Hence, the body of the Tathagata field cannot be destroyed. Right. Popping sound possesses innumerable yes. Also, sorry, I lost my place. True emancipation is the absence of anything to oppress. One may be likened to true emancipation. True emancipation is the Tathagata field. As to non-oppression, we may take up the case of the man who, having greedily partaking of fish, drinks milk again. Such a man as this is not far from death. In true emancipation, there is nothing of the kind. If he obtains ambrosia, or amrita, or good medicine, worry leaves him. True emancipation is like that. Ambrosia and good medicine can be likened to emancipation. True emancipation is the Tathagata field. How can we speak of being oppressed or not oppressed? For example, a common mortal is arrogant and self-important, and he thinks, of all things, nothing can harm me, and he holds in his hand a serpent, a tiger, or a noxious insect. The destined time of death not coming, this person meets with an untimely death. In true emancipation, there comes about nothing of the kind. We say not being oppressed. This can be likened to the Chakravartin, the divine gem, which kills all noxious insects, such as the dung beetle and the 96 noxious insects which kill all noxious insects, i.e. the total number of non-Buddhist heretics thought to be existing in the time of Shakyamuni Buddha. Ooh. As one comes into contact with the glow of this divine gem, all poison dissipates. Things are thus with true emancipation. What does this sound like? All die away from the 3,000 realms of existence. The annihilation of poison is analogous to the true emancipation. The true emancipation is the Tathagata field. So what's the gem? What do you think Nichiren would say? Myoho Renge Kyo. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo drives away all the noxious insects being the influences of the 3,000 realms in a single thought moment, yeah? Also, not being obsessed is like space. For example, this is emancipation. Space is comparable to the true emancipation. True emancipation is the Tathagata field suchness. the momentum of the Tathagata field on a cosmic scale, yeah? Also, being oppressed is like holding a lamp close to dry grass. When it is too close, the grass catches fire. The case is thus. There is nothing of the kind in true emancipation. Also, non-oppressed is like the sun and moon, which do not come close to all beings. Too close. Such is the situation with emancipation. It does not come pressing down upon beings. Non-oppression is true emancipation. True emancipation is the Tathagata field. Is he making the point clear? Sometimes I think he works so hard to make the point clear that he muddies it. But that's just the nature of teaching, right? What is it that Adam Neely says all the time? Repetition legitimizes. Repetition legitimizes. Repetition legitimizes. Also, emancipation is the immovable Dharma. In other words, Dharma, the experience of. It is in contrast to enmity and friendliness, which do not exist in true emancipation. Right? You can easily understand that enmity is something that wouldn't exist in emancipation. But the idea that friendliness would also not exist is sometimes a little hard for people to grasp. But both are extremes of a relationship that needs no thingifying, no contract, no craving or clinging. Friendliness is just as craving or clinging a thing as is enmity. Also, non-oppressed is like the sun and moon, which do not come too close to all beings. Such is the situation with emancipation. It does not come pressing down upon beings. Non-oppression is true emancipation. True emancipation is the Tathagata field. Also, immovability can be likened to Chakravartin. There will be no one who will befriend him. None becomes his friend. That the king has no friend can be likened to true emancipation. True emancipation is like the Tathagata field. The Tathagata field is Dharma. The Dharma is experience. The experience is Buddha, is Tathagata field, expressed and experienced. Also, the immovable may be contrasted with white cloth, which can easily be dyed. It is not thus with emancipation. Also, this immovable may be likened to Varsiki, or Jasminum sambac. Also, making it smell badly and blue in color is impossible. The same with emancipation. Try as we might, we cannot make it smell bad or change color. Where's my red pencil? Melly Mel, help me. There it is. Come on, my goodness. Okay. It says here, smell badly. Of course it doesn't smell badly, it smells bad, or cannot smell bad. Badly is an adjective, which would mean that it somehow smells as a sense for itself. No. Making it smell bad and blue in color is impossible. I know it's a mild one, but if I'm going to catch him, I'm going to catch him, yeah? Also, emancipation is what is rare. There is nothing rare, for example, about a water lily growing in water. When it grows in fire, this is something rare. People see this and are gladdened. What is rare can be likened to true emancipation. True emancipation is the Tathagata field. So you can relate this to what I was saying earlier about how we react to certain stimuli. The person trying to insult you, via saying something about your mother, your sister, your whatever. How you react, good or bad, that's not rare. But not reacting at all, that's truly rare. Yeah? This Tathagata field is the Dharma body, the Dharma sphere or realm, right? The experience, a Buddha experience. Also, rare may be compared with a baby. It has no teeth, but as it grows up, these appear. It is not so with emancipation. There is no birth and no non-birth. Right? It's a state of being. And it happens how? Moment to moment. Right? Also, emancipation is what is empty and quiet. I've already alluded to this, yeah? Empty being the word we use to indicate the concept in Buddhism of now self-existent thing, right? There can be no indefiniteness. By indefinite is meant the situation of saying that the Ichantika never shifts and that one committing grave offenses never attains Buddhahood. That may be a teaching construct, but it's not a real thing. Such can never apply. Why not? When that Ichantika person gains pristine resolve in Shakyamuni Buddha's wonderful Dharma, at that time the person annihilates the Ichantika within himself. Right? That's a condition. On becoming an upasaka, the Ichantika in that person dies away. The person who has committed grave offenses also attains Buddhahood when his errors have been expiated. Thus, we can never say that there is no shifting at all and that no Buddhahood can be attained. With true emancipation, there can be no such case of annihilation. Also, emptiness and quietude are things of the Dharma world or realm. The nature of the Dharma world is true emancipation. True emancipation is the Tathagata field. Also, once the Ichantika has died out, we can no more talk of the Ichantika because it's non-extant. It's gone, right? Just like the past. What is an Ichantika? An Ichantika cuts off within himself or herself all the roots of good deeds, and his mind does not call forth any association with good. Not even a bit of a thought of good arises. Nothing such as this ever occurs in true emancipation. As there is nothing of this kind, we say true emancipation, or true emancipation is the Tathagata field. Also, emancipation is called immeasurable. For example, we can measure the volume of cereal. But true emancipation is not like this. It is like the great ocean, whose volume we cannot measure. Emancipation is like that. We cannot measure it. True emancipation is immeasurable. True emancipation is the Tathagata field. Now, of course, he used the great ocean as an example, which is a thing, but the meaning of it is that when, no matter where we are, on a boat in the middle of it, on a shore or a mountain looking at it, it's impossible to see the entirety of the ocean. We can aspire or what's the word I'm looking for? We can imagine the immensity, but we can only imagine that as potential. We can't put a defined picture, quantified volume, and understand it as thus in our minds. We can only project something beyond our grasp. We know it's there. but we don't know its limits. Emancipation is like that, yeah? Also, emancipation is wide and great, and like the great sea, to which nothing is equal. The same with emancipation, nothing can be its equal. What has no equal is true emancipation. True emancipation is the Tathagata field. Also, emancipation is the highest. It is like the firmament, which is the highest, which nothing comes to be its equal. The same is the case with emancipation. What is the highest and incomparable is the true emancipation. True emancipation is the Tathagata field. Also, emancipation is the impassable. It is like the den of a lion, before into which no animal dares pass. The same, too, is the case with emancipation. No one can well pass through it. What is impassable is true emancipation. True emancipation is the Tathagata field. Why? Because it is everywhere, all at once, all the time, right? It is a core potential from which building blocks come. How are we doing time-wise? Also, emancipation is the uppermost. Emancipation is the uppermost. Emancipation is the up of the uppermost. The up of the uppermost? Compared to east, north, uppermost. Oh, okay. Also, emancipation is the law of consistency. For example, when a man's or deva's body breaks up, life departs. Once again, don't miss these opportunities to be reinforced on impermanence. Right? There is no afterlife. Listen to how casually this is said, because it's such an ingrained knowledge. When a man or a deva's body breaks up, when we decompose, life departs. Life departs. Not your life, my life, all life. The life. This is always so. This law is not non-constant. It is the same with emancipation. It is not non-constant. What is not non-constant is emancipation. And true emancipation is the Tathagata field. Also, emancipation is the strongly abiding. It is as in the case of the kadira, or the acacia katechu, the extract from which katechu is much used as a medicine, an astringent and a tonic. Sandalwood and aloe wood, whose quality is strength and resolvedness. The same with emancipation. Its quality is strength and resolvedness. What is strong and resolved in practice is emancipation. True emancipation is the Tathagata field. Think of chanting, Nichiren's exhortation to be come on, brain. Anyway, to be arduous, to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Steadfast. Also, emancipation is the not empty. For example, the body of bamboo and reed is empty inside. This is not the case with emancipation. Know that emancipation is the Tathagata field. In other words, this potential is pregnant. It's looking for opportunity to express its various manifestations within some flow of energies. You, me, them. Also, emancipation is what cannot be defiled. For example, there is a wall. While The upper coating is still not finished. Mosquitoes and gadflies come and rest and play on it. When it is painted and finished with pictures and decorated with sculptures, the insects scenting the smell of the paint do not stay on it. True emancipation may be likened to such non-staying. True emancipation is the Tathagata field. It's an interesting example. They say that if depending on where you live, you may or may not be familiar with carpenter bees. They like to burrow holes in fresh wood and nest in there. And the greatest defense against carpenter bees burrowing into all of your wood structures is to paint the wood. They'll leave it alone. Also, emancipation is unboundedness. Villages and towns all have boundaries. This is not so with emancipation. It is like space, which has no boundaries. Emancipation of such kind is the Tathagata field. Also, emancipation is what cannot be seen. It is just as the tracks of birds that flew across the sky cannot be traced. What is unable to be seen as such can well be likened to true emancipation. True emancipation is the Tathagata field. All right, I'm going to take a break from all this repetition. You could imagine reading out loud this text, very much like a recitation, right? I mean, that's what we do in Gongyo. It's just that the text that we've picked, that Tendai picked, that Nichiren picked, is the ultimate teaching, the ultimate experience of Buddhahood as a bodhisattva here in the Saha world. That's what Gongyo is. What they would call now with AI reinforcement learning. Simple as that. Well, I hope that all this repetition inspires you to chant. Enjoy your practice. Know that it does enliven your Buddha mind, and that it does and will affect every moment of your momentum in life and that around you. Namo Myo Renge Kyo. Thank you. Thank you for your support, keeping this Sangha going. Right? Liking, subscribing, very helpful to expose more people to this resource. This being the tip of the iceberg, there's a website, there's the bookstore, there's free podcasts. All the links for that stuff are in the description. But your support means everything, that this continues, that I can keep making these videos, so on and so forth. Patrons, great bodhisattvas that you are, my gratitude is bound only by my earthly presence. Whether you do it through Patreon or directly through PayPal, your support is invaluable. Namo Myo Renge Kyo. So please, take care of your health. Keep your practice strong and savor it. Take your time. Really engage with your practice, yeah? I know you'll be successful. I know you are successful. You're here and you're practicing. Congratulations. Take care of your health again, and I'll see you in the next one, all right? Very good. Bye for now.